We are live in Studio B with your day-to-day BYU sports play-by-play. I'm Spencer Linton alongside former NFL and BYU wide receiver standout Austin Collie. It is our absolute pleasure to welcome in a BYU football legend, one of the great quarterbacks that worked in that Lavell Edwards factory line of amazing quarterbacks. He is Elder S. Gifford Nielsen. Welcome back to BYU Sports.
The guy that started it all.
Yeah, really nice to be here. Really nice to be back and to see what's happening with our football team and the excitement that's going on with everything happening at BYU.
Okay, so let's begin with what's happening in your life right now, because things are, to a degree, slowing down for you after a busy calling with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So what's happening in your life now?
So Wendy and I just returned from West Africa. We had the assignment to lead the church in West Africa. It's a thriving and growing place. It's just a miraculous place. The people there are amazing. They love Jesus. They love their family. They are smart. They're intelligent. They believe that what we are teaching them is the way to find joy and happiness in life. And so it's been tough to leave them, say goodbye to them, because in many respects they become family to us. But on the other hand, it's time for 3 African general authorities to take over and take the leadership reins there. And Alfred Kiungu and Yinka Jitteron and Isaac Morrison are just doing a great job just keeping it going right there, because it's really exciting what's happening in Africa right now.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So going back to your career, has there been anything in your career, like a first start as a quarterback, more nerve-wracking than speaking in General Conference?
Well, you bring up General Conference, and it's a really unique experience, and we're really excited now to be able to hear from our prophets, seers, and revelators this weekend, especially as the world continues to turn, and there are a lot of interesting things happening out there. But to be a part of that and to be asked to participate and speak in General Conference, and in the last General Conference I gave the opening prayer, it's really interesting to walk to that podium. But you know you're going in the name of the Lord.
Yeah.
And you know that the Lord has given you what you're supposed to say and what you're supposed to do. And so you just have confidence that the message that you deliver is the message that needs to be delivered. So really anxious to hear what our leaders tell us this weekend, especially in what we're dealing with in the world today. So, and you know, I think General Conference right now is even becoming more emphasized than it ever has been because of the direction that we need.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, to say the least.
More interesting each and every single time, right?
Yeah, so we're watching what's happening with this football team right now. We're watching what's happening in BYU Athletics overall, but really the most important thing is taking care of our own personal witness of what we believe and building strong eternal families, and that's what we're going to hear again this weekend. So anxious to do that.
Well, it's something that BYU's head football coach Kalani Sitake feels very strongly in. He often mentions family and culture and environment, meaning actual families for his players and his coaches and those on his staff, and then the family culture that now exists within BYU football as a team, and they keep going back to that. We've heard so much, almost to the point of it becoming a cliche, love and learn, Spencer, love and learn, love and learn. But it feels like they have embraced that now, and it makes them play harder and better quality football for each other when that culture exists. When you look across the way and you legitimately feel like that guy is my brother. These are guys. You've played on some good football teams and some football teams that maybe didn't have that culture. So if you could, how would you compare and contrast when the culture and that love and learn and that brotherhood mentality exists and when it does not?
Let me just start by saying this, that there is a purpose in life, and there is a purpose, and it's not really to play athletics. The purpose in life is to build the kingdom, right? You're doing that, but you do that through athletics. One of the great things about Lavell and his teaching when we started this whole thing was to use the athletic program to do what we're asked to do, and that is to build the kingdom throughout the world and to make sure that we are proper examples of everything good. It doesn't take away from the fact that you want to win. You want to win.
Yes.
You go to practice to win, but you're respectful no matter what happens, and that's the culture that Lavell set when he started this thing. And to see Kalani continue to adopt what Lavell was teaching all of us. I mean, I'm looking at Austin right now. I mean, look at the influence and the impact that Austin has made in his life. When you come to BYU, you come with a purpose. And that purpose is to go out and do the very best job you can to win for your brothers or sisters, depending on what sport you're playing, and prepare yourself for something far greater than what's going to happen on a football field and what's going to happen on a basketball court or a tennis court or a soccer field. But you're learning the lessons to help you perpetuate the talents that you've been given for a greater and higher purpose. And so that's what I love to see. I mean, if you have that culture where you really care about the people that are next to you, then you're gonna be successful. It's really interesting, and it's going to be fulfilling. It was really interesting last week. I guess it was 2 weeks ago. Brian Billick just came back. Well, Brian was my tight end.
Yes.
So I had Brian came here from the Air Force Academy, and he didn't know anything about this culture, and he just came back. And I think there was a greater appreciation. There was an appreciation while he was here of what we were doing with the offense, which he adopted and took to the NFL and won a Super Bowl with.
Yeah.
But just coming back, there was a different look in Brian Billick's eyes and in his heart as he fully appreciated going full circle with this thing, leaving the Air Force, coming here, having an incredible experience here, being put in the Hall of Fame, but between that, taking the culture that he learned here and putting it in the NFL and becoming an unbelievable coach in the NFL and winning a Super Bowl.
He's been very outspoken about that and the influence that Lavell Edwards and the assistants had on him while he was here. And he told a great story about when he met his wife at BYU because he didn't know the culture. He asked her the question, this is not a joke, because he thought that there were two separate religions at BYU. That there was LDS and that there were Mormons.
Yeah.
So he said, are you LDS or are you Mormon?
It's a classic story.
He said, you've got a lot to learn.
It's a classic story, but what a person he has become. And I think a lot of it is because of the influence coming as not a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but feeling the spirit of the brotherhood that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, yes, when you incorporate that into your culture, that you are really working with each other and helping each other accomplish things greater than maybe you even thought you could accomplish. Is there anything more fulfilling?
No,
Austin?
Nothing is as magical as that.
Yeah, and I think that's what you're seeing with this BYU football team right now. They really care. This team has got grit. This team has got determination. You want to pull your hair out just a little bit when you see some of the I mean, if you just looked at the Baylor game, that was classic BYU football in the first half.
Yeah.
And then in the second half, you were going just hang on. But the character that Kalani has developed and the resiliency that Kalani has developed, along with Aaron Roderick and Jay Hill, who are the coordinators, they're focused, is something that you try to teach, you really try to incorporate, but then you see if it works in a tight situation.
And they made the plays.
That
was my whole point. This team, they said they were different, and now they're proving that they're different in those clutch scenarios where you need to see the character.
You have to.
Trust really manifest itself.
And the only way you learn that, really, Spencer, and Austin knows this, the only way you learn that is when you get in the heat of battle.
Yeah.
And then you got to come up with something. You got to come up with some kind of a play.
Yeah.
If the offense is a little bit stagnant, then you got to come up with some defensive play. Great interception at the end of the game because, we're all sitting there going, come on, just put this thing away,
Yeah.
And, there are reasons why I think BYU didn't really put it away. When you lose your center.
That's tough.
It is just, if you're a quarterback and you lose your center, the young kid that came in,
Sonny Makassini?
Son did a great job. I mean, if you lose your center, the thing you're concentrating more than anything is making sure that you get the snap.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get the snap, you don't get the play, right?
Yeah.
And so it's got to be kind of automatic. But when you lose your center, that's a big deal. When you lose one of your guards, that's another big deal. And so during the course of the game, somebody has to step up. But during the course of stepping up, there's got to be continuity in stepping up because Baylor was not going to, at home, sit there and let BYU just run over them. So they upped their level of intensity. They started coming after, defensively, they started to get a little bit more aggressive and started coming after our quarterback a little bit more. So, and Jake, standing in there, doing the best he could. But you know what it's like. You have to. All has to kind of come together in a very special way.
You talked about resilience, right? And I don't think there's a football player out there that's had more resilience, both mentally, physically, than Jake Retzlaff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
His ability to answer the call, even when maybe Cougar fans were crying for his spot to be taken by Gary Bohannon, right? I mean, the idea. I don't think people understand how hard it is to constantly be hearing, "Hey, you're not the guy. You're not the guy. You're not the guy." And then maybe have a game where you're given more reason to say you're not the guy, but then continue to keep your nose in the dirt and stick with it.
And you go out and you are the guy.
Yeah.
You are the guy. And Jake is the guy. And Jake has really shown me a lot of character with what he has done.
Yeah.
We all know when Jake is sitting there with his in proper throwing technique and having confidence in what he's doing, that guy has got an arm.
Oh, yeah.
And he's accurate. There are some tendencies, sometimes he kind of plays outside of himself just a little bit, and that was that one interception when he was rolling to his right. He didn't make a very good throw, and he shouldn't have thrown that ball, but haven't we all done that?
Yeah.
I mean, I've done that many times. I threw it right to a guy one time, and he goes, are you throwing this game? And I said, no, I'm not. I didn't see him. I didn't see him, but I hit him between the numbers, and people were going, what the heck is going on here, right? But he has shown that he is a leader and that he can make plays. He can read defenses. And so, you look at his completion percentage, and you look at his passing yards per game and what he's doing right now. He's got a plethora of receivers. He's got talent all over the field. He can, I mean, he's got Austin Collies running all over the place. He's got Mike Chronister. You remind me a lot of my Mike Chronister was Austin Collie. And it's Roberts now, and it's
Darius.
Yeah,
Darius Lassiter.
Darius Lassiter. He's got the talent, and he's got tight ends that I think he could utilize just a little bit more in this offense. But that's going to be up to the coaches to do that. And so, you look at what's happening here. This is not a surprise, and especially with what Jay Hill's doing defensively, because you watch that defense right now, and this is hard when you're an offense. You try to attack weaknesses of a defense. Well, right now, BYU's got better defensive backs that can play man coverage than I think we've ever had.
Yep.
And I think he's getting to a point where he's starting to control the defensive line of scrimmage with Denny and Nelson and a host of others. And the linebackers are very active. I didn't even know well, I've been in West Africa, so I haven't really known the names of all of these.
You haven't kept your tabs on BYU football over there in West Africa?
But I'm looking at some very, very active linebackers right now that are as good as linebackers and are as fast and as strong as I've seen around here. So this is not a surprise to me that they're playing well. I think that shows the first half of that Baylor game showed what this team can do.
It was impressive. In a word, it was fun. It was fun for BYU fans to watch that. Okay, so if you want more of this amazing conversation and insight with a college football Hall of Fame quarterback in Gifford Nielsen, then you should join us all on this Cruising with the Cougs scenario, which you have opted for.
I have opted for
You're going to get on the boat with a bunch of BYU fans.
April, 11th through the 18th. We're going to get on a boat. We're going to have just a wonderful time. And you know what? When you get a bunch of former athletes together, the stories even get better.
No question.
I can promise you on that cruise, I've never thrown an interception. It was only touchdown passes. Never thrown an incompleted pass. And I heard that Jim McMahon's going to be on the cruise, and that's always interesting. I don't know how Jim accepted to get on, but
Jimmy Mack.
I would have loved to have been behind the scenes on that deal. How we negotiated that.
Well, Jim is such a great guy.
He's a great guy.
He was our punter.
Yeah.
He was my punter.
He did it all.
And so, when you think about that, Doug Scoville used to say, let's just get first downs because we don't know what this dude's going to do.
Yeah.
We don't know what if he's back in punt formation, he might not even have shoes on.
Yeah.
So, it's just going to be a wonderful time, and I think if you're a BYU fan, you want to be on this cruise.
Yeah.
Yes. I think you'll have experiences that you could not get anywhere else. Well, you're never going to get a bunch of us together like that.
Oh, that's what I was just going to say. You're not getting not one, not two, but six legendary BYU quarterbacks have announced they were coming on the BYU cruise. You, Robbie Bosco, Coach Doman, Max Hall, Mark Wilson, Jim McMahon. Okay, and they're enjoying another amazing lineup of 30 other athletes. I got to get in the gym, so I'm not wearing a T-shirt in the pool
We'll tell
every single day.
We'll tell everybody on the cruise who is the best BYU quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, that will be.
I think we should
That's
have a
the
competition to kind
That's
of.
the
Information will
tease.
be disseminated.
That's the tease. It'll be war, but we'll tell.
We don't need anything else besides that. It's great to catch up with you.
Yeah,
Nice
great
to be
have
with you.
So grateful for your service and all that you've done, and that you're back and you get to hang out and talk a little BYU football with us.
Yeah, thank you too for all you're doing and the entire staff here. It's been amazing. I'm a BYU broadcasting graduate.
Alum?
Yes.
Yeah, so to see where this place is right now and what you've been able to accomplish and the content that you're providing is pretty special. So congratulations to the entire team.
Thank you so much, and thank you again for your time. Elder S. Gifford Nielsen on BYU Sports Nation. After the break,